This is Steve Ridgel, and I want to tell you about my friend Kay. Kay is an older lady, and when she was young, her family went to church some, and she loved Jesus. And when she grew up, she kind of got away from that and drifted away from Jesus and stayed away for a long time. And she lived up in the Northwest, and for different reasons, to be by some family, she ended up in Abilene, Texas. And she and her granddaughter saw some kittens being given away one day, and they stopped and asked about it. And the kittens happened to belong to our children's minister, Jenny. And so they got the kittens, and they met Jenny and exchanged contact information so they could keep up with the kitties. And one day they asked Jenny if she wanted to come over to lunch and see the kittens. And because Jenny's always looking for people to influence, she showed up, invited them to church. Come to find out, Alan, our involvement minister, lived two doors down from Kay. And so he called her and said, "Hey, I go right by your house to go to church. Would you like to come to church?" And since Jenny had asked her, she said yes. And she started riding to church with Alan and his wife. And she'd ask questions, and they'd visit, and they'd go to church. She'd ask questions about church. And in the middle of all of this, she got diagnosed with cancer. And it was bad. But she had made friends at church, and so when she went in the hospital, lots of us went to see Kay. She had a lot of it, not just ministry staff, but just members of our church who would go to the hospital and pray with her and pray for her healing. And so in between hospital stays, she asked Jenny if she could talk to us about what she was seeing so much of at Hillcrest, people being baptized. So we went over and we visited about kind of our core convictions at church, including the need to be born again. And she said she wanted to do that, and so she wanted all her family to watch it, which is a sweet thing. And so we scheduled her baptism. This was on maybe a Thursday for a week from Sunday, so all of her family could be there. And the week before we were to baptize her, she got sick and went back in the hospital. And the doctors were pretty blunt about her prognosis, that she might be her oncologist described it as being in the end days. And she wanted to be baptized. They didn't want to let her out of the hospital. And so we didn't really know what to do, except we always know the right thing to do. What, you snuck her out? No, the right thing to do is always pray and let God do stuff. So we had the whole church start praying for Kay to be able to get out of the hospital in order to be born again, because that was really important to her. And so we began to pray about it. They came in and said, "We're going to do one more round of chemo and then live out your days." And so as they were talking about it, they scheduled the chemo for a Monday. And so they said, you can go home for 3 or 4 days and then come back. And so Kay got out of the hospital, I think it was on a Friday. And on this last Sunday morning, we baptized Kay into Christ. Alan did it because he had been the one that had been bringing her to church, and Jenny was in there with her, and my wife was helping her. It was sweet, and it was a holy moment, and Kay was so happy, just tears of joy. And as Alan was getting ready to baptize her and telling her story, he told most of the congregation knew, but he told the ones that didn't that she wouldn't be long in this world. And Kay just spoke out and said, "That's right, and I'm okay with that. I'll be going home." It was a sweet, a precious, a holy moment. And now as you're watching this, she's been back in for chemo, and I don't know what will happen to Kay, but I do know this. I'll get to hang out with her forever in heaven. And we stand in awe of the great God who we ask, and he helped his child come home. This is Steve Ridgel telling you, ask God for the great things, and he'll bring his people home.